Hey, Grievers and Groovers. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. Happy first Wednesday in April, April 4th. Hope the 4th is with you today. We've got a lot to chat about. I want to give people some time to tune in. So in the meantime, we're going to do a little housekeeping and talk about National Healthcare Decisions Day, which is coming up Monday, April 16th, soon. There's 3 people. Come and join and say hi. Where are you coming from? I want to see you. I want to know if you can see me and hear me. I think you can because the connection looks good. Oh, I'll try to look down instead of up because I've got my windows open. So it's a little pesky reflection there. Hey, Melanie, how's it going? How are you doing? Hi, Peggy. Let's see. So we were talking about, I'm going to just do some housekeeping and then we're going to talk about our topics, but just wanted to say National Healthcare Decisions Day coming up. Thank you for a little heart that just went across. National Healthcare Decisions Day. If you want to learn more, it's at nhdd.org. And it is just a day to celebrate the importance of advanced planning and to kind of get the word out. So for all the death positive folk who are preaching out there to the peeps to get your advanced planning poop in a group, Monday, April 16th is a big day. So keep your peepers peeped because you're probably going to see stuff in the news and articles on blogs and things in your feed and all those good kind of things. And also I am hoping that the stuff that I post on Monday, National Healthcare Decisions Day, that you guys will all share it on your pages and spread the word. That's all you got to do. You just have to boop, share. That's it. That's all you got to do. And it gets the word out. Grassroots, man. Melanie says, by the way, getting that packet, thank you, is sharing as well. Good. We got to share it. We got to get the word out. We got to talk about it. We have to have some action. You know, I love all of the death positive events that have been popping up and that I'm sure that you guys have heard about, whether it's a death cafe in your local town or city, or whether it's a death and dying dinner, or there's also an organization called Death Over Dinner. And all of these events are great and a great way to get the conversation started, but none of them actually have paperwork. And I'm all about the action. I love talking about it. I love that these events are furthering the discussion, but then people leave with no kind of practical thing in their hands. They can be like, okay, so I'm here to tell you, before we get to our today's Grievers and Groovers topics, that advanced planning will help your grief. The conversations you have with your loved ones about their potential demise, your potential demise, your worst case scenario, their worst case scenario, all of these conversations, although they're perceived to be difficult and awkward, once you just kind of get it out, I think you'll find, for the most part, for the majority, people are receptive and want to talk about it. And once you have the answers to your loved ones, if something then happens, then automatically it's going to be in your memory. Automatically it's going to be like, okay, let's do this. I know he wanted this. I know she said this, and that's what she wanted. So it's really important. Okay, there's a couple people tuning in. Where are you from? Check in. Say hooty hoot. So I can't shut up about the Gary Shandling documentary on HBO. Have you guys watched it yet? You've got to watch it. It's in 2 pieces, 2 parts, 2 pieces, like a Reese's Pieces, a Reese's cup. It's just a spiritual, beautiful documentary, and it's all about grief and how grief impacted Gary Shandling and how that influenced his decisions, not only personally but professionally. So it's so interesting to me, and which brings us to the topic of today. Well, I've got a few topics, but I wanted to know if any of you have ever written a letter to your deceased loved one. Now let me explain a little. I don't mean, sending a birthday card every year or anything like that. I mean more of like a healing letter. For example, if you didn't get a chance to say goodbye to that person, Melanie says, I just canceled HBO. Arg! Why did you cancel it? I'm sure if you kind of sniff around, there might be a sneak free preview or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, so we're talking about writing a letter to your deceased loved ones in a sort of healing way. So if you didn't get a chance to say goodbye, or if you feel like you've got anything unspoken or unsaid, it's a really weird at first, but great idea to write a letter to your loved one. Or if you have a loved one that died a long time ago and you have all of these things that you wish that person could have seen or experienced, or feelings are coming up with you that you want to get out and wish that person was around to listen to, then I encourage you to write a letter. It's really, really healing and really, really sad at the same time, but it's healing. Melanie's like, I'll figure it out. Yeah, HBO, no big whoop. But here's the thing. If you write a letter to the person who's deceased, I think at the end of it, it's a very cleansing experience and a healing experience. And it feels like you've been able to communicate that to that person. Also, you could, if you have kind of, I don't know, what's the word? Unresolved issues with someone who's died, you can write a letter to you from that deceased person. You see what I'm saying? So, for example, if you thought, oh, I never heard Dad say that he was proud of me, then you can write a letter to yourself from your dad that says, Dear Amy, you are the best daughter in the world. I'm so proud of you, whatever. You don't have to write Dear Amy, though, because that would be weird because your name's not Amy. Hi, Chanel. How's it going? I had my granny's handwriting on your foot. I think there's a typo there, as a tattoo. That's awesome. There is something about handwriting, isn't it, from your loved ones who are no longer here, because you feel like that was the moment that they were alive and they put their, pencil to paper or pen to paper. And I just found we'll get back to the letter writing, but I digress. I'll just have a little tangent of a story. So it was my mom's birthday last week. And I was going through some photos to try to find a photo for a friend of mine who had a birthday. And I found, I think I might have mentioned this briefly last week, but I found a card where she said, I was living in London and she was in Chicago, and I found a card in her handwriting that said, happy birthday, and hope you enjoy the moon and the star earrings that are enclosed, and always remember your spirituality and that the moon and the stars are with you. And I just loved seeing her handwriting in the card, and even though it was 20 years ago, it felt as if she was sending it to me today. And then as I was looking through the pictures, I found a picture of wearing the earrings. I had both the earrings in, the moon and the star earring, and that just kind of let the hair stand up on the back of my neck and gave me goosebumps. And I just took that as a little sign, little hooty hoot from my meemaw. Melanie says, I love this idea. Yeah, well, so you can either write everything that you didn't get to say to your loved one. And Gary Shandling in the HBO documentary, he was 10 when his older brother, who was 13, had died. And I was having foggy brain last week. I said it was from cerebral palsy. It wasn't. It was cystic fibrosis. It was with a C. It was in the neighborhood. So here it is. His brother dies, and then his parents say nothing. They just, one day he had an older brother, and the next day he was gone. They didn't even say your brother died. He just kind of figured it out a little bit. He overheard his dad talking to another male figure, crying, saying, we lost him. That's the only kind of inkling that he had. And they never talked about it since. That is mind-blowing to me, to not even acknowledge. So anyway, obviously this affected him. And as he grew up and went to therapy, he wrote a letter to his brother, Barry. And it's in the documentary. And I transcribed every word of it because it was so moving. And I bawled through the whole thing. It was intense. Let's see. Melanie says, oh, that's so awful. I know. But people deal with death in such a weird way. And then in the documentary, Gary's mom later said, I didn't tell you, or, they wouldn't let him go to the funeral. And she said that she didn't want him going to the funeral because she didn't want him to see her cry. What? And I've heard this before from people when I'm guiding them through their advanced planning and we're talking about their, deaths and things like that. And they're just like, well, I don't want to talk to my dad about it because it's too sad and we'll both cry. And I'm just like, then both cry. Why is everyone afraid to show their feelings? Like, the concept of dying and knowing that you're going to be leaving your loved ones, it's a sad thing, unless you're, 99 and you're just ready to go. And who was I talking to? I was just talking with someone yesterday. That's one thing that we don't think about when we get old. We're so afraid of death, that we're a death phobic society. But what we don't take into account is hopefully you die at an older age. As you age, parts stop working and you're just like, this isn't fun anymore, And so, as your body breaks down, it kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of life. So you're kind of ready to go. I mean, my dad was really young when he passed away. He was only 72, but he was ready to go. He said, he had open heart quadruple bypass surgery when he was 70. And he was just like, I can't do the things I used to be able to do. And, it's checkout time. Which was, of course, horrifying because I'm his daughter. I'm just like, no, stay around, especially since everybody else has died. I told him, I was just like, P.S., please don't die. At least last for another 5-6 years, tops. And then I can deal with it. And of course, he didn't listen to me because he's a jerk. And he checked out 4 years later. But anyway, we digress. Chanel says, hey, Dana, I keep meaning we are supposed to talk at some point, and I have it on my list, and I still haven't done it, but we're going to talk. Chanel says, you need to cry. That's right. You need to cry. You need to feel, as I say, feel all the feelings. Feel all the damn feelings. And you're an emotional roller coaster anyway with grief, so why not just, let it all out. Better out than in. Because if you don't let it out in some kind of way, it's going to surface. If you don't, sort of excavate it, it's going to surface. And then it's going to manifest itself in other ways, potentially negative ways. I asked a friend of mine, I said, how did you get through your dad's death? And he's like, drinking and sleeping around. I was like, huh. I don't think that's on the list of positive coping skills. And then he later shared, he said, I still don't think I worked through it, so you gotta kind of get it out. Hi, Kat, how's it going? Good to see you. Chanel says, it's so bloody hard. I know. Chanel, are you in England? I keep getting the GMT time wrong, which is Greenwich Mean Time, because I keep thinking you guys have to turn your clocks forward. We've already done that. Well, I don't know. It's so confusing. Or are you in Australia? I can't remember. I can hide my own Easter eggs. This is how forgetful I am. And this is how old I am. I'm going to be the big 5-0 this year. Let's just take a moment. Think about that. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, Amy says they already did it. Amy, what are you talking about? Amy Bell. Hi, Amy Bell. Where are you tuning in from? And Chanel, where are you tuning in from? Yes, you're in the UK. I love the UK. What time is it there? Is it 12:14 or is it 1:14 a.m.? This is what I would like to know. Amy, are you talking about your parents getting their advanced planning done? You're already done? I don't know. I have to specify. It goes by so fast. Hi, Amy. You're in New Jersey. Okay. So we're talking today about if you've ever written a letter to a deceased loved one, and for closure, any kind of healing. When I was going through therapy, my therapist had recommended that I write a letter to my my dad, just about healing the past or whatever, and so I wrote out all the things, like, you didn't do this, and why didn't you let me become an exchange student in 7th grade and go to Australia? Things that I held for years. And then after I read it, it just seemed so kind of ridiculous, because it really felt like I was criticizing my dad because he wasn't the dad I wanted, but instead he was the dad that I had, if that makes any sense. And so it actually freed me from wanting those things that my dad just wasn't able to give me. He just was raised in a different way. And I always say, is it dad versus dude? Like a lot of times when I would get angry at my dad, I would have to ask myself, okay, is this a dad thing or is it a dude thing? It's because you forget that your dads, are guys, and sometimes they just do dumb guy stuff and they don't understand the ladies or their emotions. Kat says I write in my journals to my mom. See, that's what we're talking about too. Do you guys write in your journals to your dead peeps? I do all the time. Or if I see something, I'll say, oh, Mom, I thought of you today, and blah, blah, blah. And I really feel that grounding it in writing really kind of puts the message out. I don't know. That's just me. But back to the letter writing, it can be a very healing thing. And then I also wrote a letter to me from him, saying all of the things that I wish he could have said. And after that, it just made me laugh, because I thought, this is not the dad I have. It would not even occur to him. This would not even be a blip on his radar that I would need to hear these things. And so then it just lessened the expectations. Well, it eliminated the expectations I had of him to kind of understand where I was coming from. Melanie says, sometimes I feel like my mom is more like my mom since she passed away than when she was here. I feel like she's always around now. Melanie, let's talk about that. I know, it's crazy. It's almost like, if you're lucky and you have a good relationship with the people that you love who are passed, you feel their love from their physical space wherever they are in the world, whether it's a different country or different state, different city even. But then when they die, it's almost like they become part of everything. And that is what blew my mind. Not to get too crazy woo-woo on you guys, but P.S., I'm pretty crazy and woo-woo. I believe it all. I mean, literally after everybody's died, my family, I'm like waiting for the mothership to come down and to take me into space. But yeah, I can remember right after my mom dying, walking outside, a friend of mine was going to come over and hang out with me that first night and bring me food and Kleenex. And I walked outside, and it was in August, and there was an orange blossom tree next door, and it was just wafting, and it just gassed me as I was walking outside looking for my friend. I was waiting to give her the parking pass to park, find a space. And a breeze came by, and it just went through me, and I just felt my mom. I can't even explain it. It sounds, I almost said a really bad word. It sounds effing bananas, but I felt it. It was real. And a hummingbird then like zoomed over and was just like, hey, right in my face. I'm just like, is that you, Mom? Oh. So yeah, it's like a weird cosmic love. And I feel that when my peeps or my dead rellies, passed on to the other side, their souls kind of braided with my soul. And I still feel them everywhere. Melanie says, I'm so glad you understand that, because some people look at me like I'm nuts. Well, then I'm nuts too. And Kat says, yes, she gets it too. See, everybody's getting it. This is why I do the Grievers and Groovers, so we all feel like we're not crazy. Chanel says, my granny was a great believer, and I felt her around us. Yes, totally. Isn't it crazy? It's almost like a more powerful love And I mean, do you guys feel this way? It's almost like it's just the universal energy, the vibration. I don't know. We're getting into some new agey shit right now. Shit's getting real, but I believe it. I really do. Yeah, they're around us. I really believe it, and I believe it if you write stuff down. I believe that they'll hear it. I mean, if you watch any of the shows like Tyler the Hollywood Medium or the Long Island Medium, all of them are saying, "Oh, did you write something down?" Or they're mentioning the letter that you wrote or the letter that you put in the casket or things like that. Melanie says, "I'm totally getting chills." Chanel says, "You know when you know." Word. Mary says, "I feel my mom now that I let it all out." That's really powerful. It's true. Oh, I love it. We're a little club that feels our loved ones. I think that's so great. And when I say all these things, I don't mean that grief is easy or that, death is a walk in the park. It's not at all. And that's another thing too. I've done a lot of press in the last couple weeks. I've guested on some podcasts, which are going to come out in to promote National Healthcare Decisions Day. And a lot of people ask me, what do you mean death positive? You're in the death positive movement. How is death positive? And we're not saying that dying or death itself is positive, like turn that frown upside down. But we're talking about the discussion. If you can view death as part of life, that's viewing it in a more positive way. So it's death positive instead of the negative narrative that you're being fed by society or other people. Melanie says, "Yay, good for you." So you guys are talking to each other, good, because it's going by fast, and so I can't kind of keep track. But so I love that we're all writing down things for our loved ones, whether it's letters to them or letters from them. I really do think, especially if you've got some, oh, hi, Danielle. But it's positive that everyone will die one day. Yeah, that's true. That's just a positive fact. Yeah, that is real. Danielle, where are you tuning in from? Just curious, out of curiosity. But yeah, it's true. It is a fact. We're all going there, and none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And that's why it's so important to let your loved ones know how you feel about them right here, right now. But yeah, I was getting back to my dad and the dad versus dude thing. I can remember he actually, okay, here's a fun story. I was Skyping with my cousin. I've got an elderly cousin in Palm Springs, and I was Skyping with him. And when I was back home, going through a lot of post-death crazy stuff, there was like a mix up with my granny's will, and there's court case. It was just a nightmare. But anyway, I was in Dayton. I was Skyping with my friend, and I accidentally, some kind of way, butt dialed my dad. I don't even know how, or like the duvet, made a cosmic finger and then pressed call my dad or whatever. And he overheard my entire hour and 38-minute Skype sesh with my friend, my cousin. And in the discussion, he heard me say that my dad wasn't really able to be there for, to help me in my grief over my mom and my granny dying. And he got really pissed about it. And he's just like, "What do you mean I'm not there for you?" And, and I was just like, "You're a dude. You don't understand. I'm a girl. I'm going through things called emotions and feelings." Those are things that you don't understand. But I let him know. I said, "I'm not blaming you. I'm not mad at you for being unable to give me what I need, but I need to surround myself. I have to choose self-care and surround myself with people who understand my grief and who validate how I feel." And, that's why I do these lives every week, because I want you guys to know that, I'm validating your experience, whatever that may be. When you're grieving, it's so personal. It's so different for every single person. Some people, throw themselves into work and kind of try to, get through it that way. Some people literally can't get out of bed. this is what I'm saying. It's so individual. And if you can find the courage to speak up and, verbalize what you need, I think everybody's going to be better for it, but it's hard. It's hard when your heart's broken and you're in pain. You can't think of what you need, except you just need it to stop. You just want it to stop. Hey, Sharon. So we're talking about all kinds of stuff all over the place. I've got little topics. I wanted to talk about funeral potatoes. We're also talking about writing letters to the deceased. So, if you want to write a letter to them or write a letter from them to you, telling you what you would need to hear from them, I'm telling you, it sounds wackadoodle-doo, but it is a really powerful exercise. It really allows you to kind of face the reality of it and then also heal it, But yeah, so anyway, I had to accuse my dad of just being a dude. I had to play the dude card. I was just like, look, I know you love me and I love you, but you just, he folded like a deck chair on the Titanic as soon as I had all these deaths happen in my family. He just didn't know how to deal with it. But that's because of his own issues with death and how he was raised. And, it's like we were talking about last week. Did anyone in your family ever say, this is death? This is grieving. This is sadness. This is what it looks like. I think families are so freaked out and they don't want to talk about it, or it's so painful that they don't know what to say about it. But I say, just come right out and be like, you know what? I miss, I know Sharon's brother, Danny, passed away, I miss Danny, and people think that bringing up your loved one is going to upset you more, but the upset is always there. And there's a difference between being emotional and being upset. Upset kind of implies kind of an angsty kind of thing. But if you're emotional, you're human. You can love someone so much that it brings tears to the eyes, So we're talking about all kinds of griefy-tastic stuff. If there's anything you guys want to talk about or that's on your mind or anything that's like weighing heavy on your heart today, post it and we'll talk about it. Make sure I see it though. But we're talking about, I came across it today. Apparently at Walmart, they sell funeral potatoes, which I guess is just like a bag with like shredded potatoes, like hash browns and stuff with like cheese and sour cream and stuff like this in there. And I guess you just dump it out in a casserole dish, pop it in the oven, and then there's your funeral taters. I have never heard the term funeral potatoes, but apparently it's a thing. Have you guys heard of this? I can't remember, somebody posted today, because I posted the article on the Good to Go Facebook page, and somebody posted, oh yeah, I just made some of these last week or today or something like that. And I'm just like, how have I never heard of funeral potatoes? And P.S., give me some. I wrote in my Good to Go paperwork that I would like a tater tot bar at my funeral. Various toppings, cheeses, chives, sour cream, different kinds of ketchups, mustards, mayonnaise, a various, amount of, condiments with the tater tots, because tater tots are the perfect food. They're crunchy on the outside, warm, delicious, soft on the inside, a bit like myself, crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. They say so true. Are you guys freezing your balls off? I've seen so many like snowy photos that have been on Facebook the world over, and it's lovely and in the 70s here in Los Angeles. But of course, I'm having some kind of hot flash because, like I said, I'm being 50 this year, and my hormones are going crazy. Seriously, are any of you watching American Idol? This is how crazy my hormones are going. I watched an episode a couple nights ago. I cried at every single person, every single one. Even if it was just like, some chick going, woo, woo. I was just like, oh my gosh, your mom's in the audience. That is so beautiful. Or, this song's for my dad. And then they're singing a song and Oh my gosh, somebody sang Garth Brooks' The Dance. I'd never heard that song in my life because I'm not a big new country person. Sorry, I was just getting excited and I hit my laptop. Um, yeah, I just wanted to kill myself after watching the audition with Garth Brooks' The Dance. I mean, that song is just going to rip your heart out and lay it on the table. Oh, here's my ride. Can you guys hear it? This is LA. Choppers, police choppers everywhere. And then I've got the apartment complex next door. Somebody didn't put a battery in their smoke alarm, and it's just been like bloop, like every 10 minutes, bloop. It's like, anyway. What were we talking about? I can't even remember. Funeral taters. I remember now. Taters gonna tate. No, I'm kidding. Is it a Southern thing? I'm wondering. Oh, no, wait. It's a Utah thing. It's a Mormon thing. That's right. I did read that. Food is such a huge part of when somebody dies. You know, people bring casseroles over. And I always joke, you know, after the casseroles are gone, keep getting in touch with the grievers, you know. Everyone brings a casserole, you know, in the early days, even a couple weeks after you get a casserole, people bring you food. I even had, it was really sweet. I even had friends of my mom send me Trader Joe's gift cards, which I thought was really sweet. But yeah, food is such a huge part of the life celebration. A lot of people pick the favorite foods of their loved ones, if their loved ones didn't specify what kind of food they wanted served at their life celebration. But it's just another thing, that a decision that the grievers have to make for their loved ones. Oh my gosh. So the sun. All right, let me switch. I've got my grieving shirt on, you guys. I'm going to be selling these iron-ons on the Etsy store, the Good to Go Etsy store, but it's taken me a while to get my poop in a group because I'm so busy with Good to Go itself. Then I'm doing crafts and things. I'm going to wrap up here soon. So let's see. Have we hit all the topics? We have. We've done the funeral taters, funeral potatoes, which are delicious, I'm sure. And it's making me hungry. We talked about writing a letter to your deceased loved one, and I would love to know if any of you guys are going to do that. And then if you do, let us know how you felt afterwards. I also wanted to throw out, before we end with my favorite topic, which is baby animals, I wanted to throw out there a couple resources. So if you guys are grieving right now, oh, your poor little tender heart, I'm giving you such a big hug. If you're grieving, there's so many resources online. And after my mom died, I was constantly researching podcasts, websites, Google search, how do I live through this? You know, I was asking Alexa, I'm whispering because I don't want her to hear me. She might pipe in. But it's one of those things where, oh, wait, I'm moving this. Sorry. Can you guys see me okay? It just froze. The screen just froze. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, we're back. This is a professional operation. For anyone joining us for the first time, obviously the production quality is right up there. And pretty sure I'm a professional at all of this. But let's talk about some of the other grief resources. I mention it every single Grievers and Groovers, but I'm telling you, she is so good. Her name's Claire Bidwell Smith. And it's Claire, Claire, Bidwell-Smith. And you can find her on Facebook. And you can Google her. She's written 2 excellent books, one called After This and one called Rules of Inheritance. And she lost both of her parents in her 20s, and then I think 3 of her really, really close friends after that. So she experienced a lot of death and a lot of grief at a young age. And she has turned her suffering into grace and is now an amazing therapist. And she just, and I'll send you guys a link, I'll post it on Good to Go. She's just done an online course for grievers. So I will share that with you guys after we hop off. And I'm going to hop off in 2 seconds. So yeah, hi, Kat. Kat says, my mom loved lemons all her life. When she was sick, that's all she would eat the last week of her life. That's so interesting. They were something that was huge in her lives. My mom, we wrote notes on lemons and put them in her box when she was cremated. Oh my gosh, I love that. I find lemons and lemon related things all the time now. That is so great. I love that, Kat. Chanel says, girls, oh my God, it's so different. I know. Oh my gosh, you guys have been commenting and I haven't even seen it because my scroller thing was kooky. I was just like, wait, nobody's commenting and I was just talking. No, okay. I'm going through all of your comments, you guys. Yeah, Chanel had her granny's handwriting tattooed on your foot. What did you say? What did you get your tattoo to say? Dana had to explain to her boys what funeral food is. Oh my gosh, you have a link too. Funeral sandwiches. That's crazy. Dana says, I'll bring Spuds McKenzie. Was my date to your funeral? Yeah. Bring Spuds McKenzie. Well, that brings us to baby animals. Spuds McKenzie was my favorite bull terrier dog because I was a big Rick Springfield fan. And when I worked at a gift store at the St. Mall, when I was in high school, I worked at a card shop called G Thanks, capital G period Thanks. If that's not an American name for a store, I don't know what is. And we sold Spuds McKenzie t-shirts. That's how long ago that was. And I had to fold like 700 of them. But I'm a ninja t-shirt folder because of that. But yes, Cape Cod's cold. I'm sorry, Cape Cod's cold. I'll say that 10 times fast. Cape Cod's cold. 27 degrees, Kat. I'm so sorry. My sympathies. Oh yeah, we're talking about the dance, the Garth Brooks song. I know, it'll rip your heart out. Now they have a food planning site for people to sign up each day of the week for a grieving family. That is amazing. That is such a great idea. Yeah, to do it in shifts and to keep checking in. That's the thing. It's like everybody just thinks that you really, really need someone there the first 2 weeks, and then kind of the first 2 weeks after someone dies, and after that kind of goes away and everybody kind of goes back to their lives because they weren't necessarily affected by your loved one dying, and then you're just stuck in grief town. You're like, hey, anybody give me a lift out of here? Anybody? Nope. So that's why we all have to stick together and support each other. Chanel says she misses her granny's stew. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on like your deceased loved one's food that they made. I mean, I was just thinking like my mom's mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, it still hurts. I'm getting a little choked up thinking of her mashed potatoes and gravy and the fact that I don't have it. Let's see. Oh, Kat was talking about Claire Bidwell Smith, perhaps, and you say, oh my God, I absolutely love her. Maybe. I don't know. I think that's who you were referring to. Oh, Chanel says it was just her handwriting in the tattoo. Okay, I've caught up with your comments, and we're going to get ready to go. Baby animals, did you guys, did you see the video of the baby goats, the pygmy baby goats that just bounce all over the place? I mean, I can't even. And then the woman who like owns the sanctuary where the goats are, and she was like, they have little perfect hooves and they're so soft and they're so beautiful. And I was just like, oh my God, you had me at little baby hooves. Have you ever held a baby goat? I have. I go to the desert a lot, the Mojave Desert. It's only 2 hours outside of LA. And we went to this place called Pioneer Town. Google it. It's fun. And this farmer guy had his goats out. They were just goats. And there was a little baby one. And of course, I lose my shit whenever I see a baby animal. I don't have kids, and I'm childless by choice, 100% by choice. And I'm thrilled that I don't have them. But I go bananas over baby animals. And then the farmer said to me, as if it was cosmic, intel from above, he was like, oh, hey, can you hold my baby goat while I go get the stuff out of the car? And I was like, yeah, give it here. and its name was Romeo, and it was black, and it had little polka dots on his nose and on his little legs. I took a picture where I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my God. And he was talking, and he was so little. He was only 4 days old, and I got to hold him on his first Saturday on the planet. I couldn't even believe it. I was losing my mind. I'll post a picture. Are you guys following me on Instagram? I would love it if you could come over and say hooty hoot on Instagram. And it is at Good to Go Peace. And I usually post stuff about baby animals, death, grief, and rock and roll, all of my favy topics in life. We're done. I'm wrapping it up. Thanks everybody for joining. We got some new peeps today, which is fun. I always love it. And I love that Chanel is tuning in at very late. So I hope you're having a little cocktail to accompany you for Grievers and Groovers. And thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. And again, like, thanks for sharing your stories. I love hearing what you guys are going through. And, you know, hopefully with Grievers and Groovers, it makes you feel a little bit less alone. And you guys make me feel less alone. I love that you're all feeling the cosmic love of your loved ones, you know, that you can feel them everywhere. It's such a beautiful thing. And you guys have really kind of lifted my spirits today. So I'm going to see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same deathy time, same deathy channel, same deathy Facebook page. And I'm going to be posting more stuff about National Healthcare Decisions Day because advanced planning is so important. And if you guys want to buy the Good to Go departure files, they're available on my website. And there's a little video on this Good to Go Facebook page too, if you're wondering what's in the departure file. So I don't have to bore all you guys to tears with what's inside it, but it's everything a will doesn't cover. It's the stuff that people don't think to write down. And I wrote it all down. It's like 51 pages. It's a lot. But anyway, sending so much love out to you guys. And if your heart's a little broken because you're grieving, it's not going to rain forever, and we're going to get through this. So hang in there. Post-traumatic growth is possible through this nightmare that you're in. I'm telling you, it's possible. You just have to be open to it, and I'm sending all of you guys a big hug. All right, take care, you guys. Talk to you next week. Bye.